Hello, boys and girls of 5NC. This is Mr. C back at ya. Okay, this is going to be a quick one because there's really not much to what I'm showing you today. We're going to be doing three different things, actually. We're going to be adding fractions whose denominators are the same. So if I have the fraction 4/12 and I'm adding that to the fraction 3/12, what do you notice about this fraction? Well, I notice, Mr. C, that both of the fraction's bottom numbers, that is called the denominator, both of these denominators are the same. So when you have two fractions whose denominators are the same, all you gotta do is add the numerators. 4 plus 3 is 7. And the denominator, which is the same, which is 12, stays 12. What's important to remember that you don't add these denominators. It just remains, or stays rather, 12. Okay? I wish I can give you a visual of what you're doing here when you're adding fractions with the same denominators, and I will give you those visuals a little later. But just so you know, 4/12 plus 3/12, same denominator. The denominator stays 12, and you just add the numerator. Now, if I were to give you the same fractions, but multiplying them, well, you know what? Actually, let's, well, that's probably a pretty bad example. Let me go ahead and just scribble dibble. All right, here we go. We're going to go 8/9 times 4/6. Okay. When you're multiplying fractions, it doesn't matter if the numerators are different or the denominators are different or even if the denominators are the same. It's the same process. You multiply the top numbers, so 8 times 4 is 32, and then you multiply the bottom numbers, the denominators, and 9 times 6 is 54. Now, what teachers will constantly ask you to do, they will ask you to simplify to lowest terms, or they might say, reduce that fractions to lowest terms. How low can you go? Now, in class, we've been working on reducing fractions to lowest terms, and when we reduce fractions, we actually divide the numerator and the denominator by the same number, okay? So we know that 32 and 54, we know that they're even, so we know that both numbers are divisible by 2. And you can certainly do it that way, divide by 2, and then you'll come up with a fraction, and then you'll divide that by 2, and then divide that by 2, and, well, you'll be dividing all night long, but there is a quick way, there is a shortcut. If you find the greatest common factor of 32 and 54 and divide that number by the numerator and the denominator. So let's find out what the greatest common factor of 32 and 54 are. Let's build our factor trees, and we've done factor trees before, so I'm assuming you know how to do this. We have 5 2's here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And 54, we have 9 and 6, 3 and 3, 3 and 2. Okay, 3 3's and a 2. Okay, now I know I went quickly there, but I'm assuming that you know how to do factor trees. If you don't know how to do factor trees and find greatest common factor of two numbers, please stop this tape and watch my greatest common factor tutorial, okay? So they both share a 2. And that's really all they share. So guess what? In this case, the greatest common factor is 2. So what's 32 divided by 2? Well, what I'm asking when you divide anything by 2 is, what's 32 cut in half? Or what's half of 32? Well, can you guess it? It is 16. Well, what's 54 divided by 2? Or what's 54 cut in half? It's 27. Now, if you didn't know it was 27, you could very easily pull out some pistol division here, okay? You know how to do that. You have those tools in your toolbox, so don't be lazy on that one, okay? So, adding fractions. Denominators are the same. You simply just add the numerators, and the denominator stays the same, okay? Multiplying fractions, you multiply the top numbers, the numerators. You multiply the bottom numbers, the numerators. The denominators, excuse me, I'm tripping over my own words here. Let's try that again. Multiply the numerators, and then you multiply the denominators. 8 times 4 is 32. 9 times 6 is 54. And then when you have this fraction, if it can be reduced at all to lowest terms, use the greatest common factor. Build your factor trees, and you are on your way. Thank you for listening. Be prepared for tomorrow. Bye-bye.